What's up, everybody? It's Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of the creditrepairshop.com. And in today's video, I'm going to talk to you about debt forgiveness. And I'm going to talk to you about it in a way to get your attention on that this is something that is possible, but you got to get your mind thinking in the right direction. You got to stop. I don't want to say stop looking and looking at other ideas that people have, but this is something that I have actually done for my clients. This is something that I've coached my clients on doing, and they gotten excellent results. So now, but what I want to do is I want to tell you a quick story. I believe that this story that I tell you is going to kind of bring it full circle on how you need to be thinking if you are going to get debt forgiveness from your creditors or from a debt collector. Like you're trying to move forward in your life and you got that debt hanging over your head and you can't sleep at night. You don't know what way to turn. Everything that everybody says to you sounds good, and that's because you are under so much stress. Your money is tight. Kids are acting up. You and your spouse are fighting. That's what's happening. And so I'm giving you personally, you that's watching me right now, you, if it's one person, fine. I want to help you out. But I'm going to tell you a story, and this story is going to bring this full circle on how you have to be thinking if you're going to get debt forgiveness. Now, I've been married to my wife Barbara for 34 years, and since I was 21 years old, and she ended up having to have a double lung transplant right in 2020 when COVID hit. I had to drop her off at the hospital. I couldn't even go in. You know how it was at that time. I didn't even know if I was going to see my wife again, but she had to do it. For years, she had struggled with being on oxygen for, I think, about 10 years, and it had gotten to where her lung capacity was only at 13%. Now, if you want to picture this, if you were to go and run, like jog or walk at a fast pace, and if you had one of those watches or you had something that could do your lung capacity, you would be at like 90, at the worst, like what, 94, 95 until you caught your breath. She could never catch her breath. The pockets and everything inside of her lungs were just, they would not release. She could actually at sometimes take in breaths and she had to like push it out like a straw. Like imagine drinking a straw, but the way that you had to drink it was in the reverse. Like if you had a milkshake and it was not thawed out enough and you're trying to suck it through the straw and it's just like barely moving. That's how she told me her breathing was. And she, like, it was tough. There was times where she could barely breathe and we had to take her to the emergency room. She had several times where she was in the hospital for weeks for weeks. And I kept dealing with what I had to deal with. I got to work. I had to help, you as clients. Like, so stuff goes on with me too. Like, it is not no gravy and cake and ice cream. And what I've learned to do is compartmentalize on how I react to things that's happening. But this is something that just happened to us, and it's happened before. But we had to switch insurances this year because insurances, they close out and their pool is not available in a certain area anymore. And so we're just kind of used to having to do it, and we had to switch insurances again this year, and probably, yes, we have to pay a lot for insurance. You can just imagine. But this insurance that we moved to, they would not let her use the medication that she had gotten switched to last year that was approved by the other insurance company. And this is a very important medication because they had noticed that from all of the pills, she takes about 40-some pills a day. And they had noticed that from one of the pills, it was messing up her kidneys. And so they said, we're going to switch it to this and get your white blood cell count. Like, it was a lot of stuff. I don't want to really get too much into that. But bottom line, for this medication, they said that they did not approve it. Her doctor, everybody said, she needs it. She got to get it. They said, we're not approving it. The pill is $4,000. It's a little over $4,000, but it's $4,000 a month for the pills. And, bottom line for my wife, for her to survive, I have to buy it. Bottom line. But I'm going to tell you something on what she was able to accomplish. And this is going to help you if you're trying to get debt forgiveness. So they said, okay, she pushed it. And that's another part of the people who push are going to get somewhere. The people who don't push and quit or try to run off to the next new thing, they don't get anywhere. They rarely get anywhere. They get barely any type of production or any result. So she said, they said, okay, we're going to do this review. Now, this review was going to be the final thing. Everything was hinting on this review that in front of this board. It was going to be done over the phone, so it wasn't in person. And she wrote out the letter. Now, just keep in mind, $4,000 a month is $48,000 just for that pill. And she has 9 other ones that we have to pay for also, that the insurance was paying for. And, we pay percentages. So that was what was under. And she was under a lot of stress. And I was like, don't worry about it. We're going to work our way through it. She says she's going to write a letter because she's going to write a letter to read because she don't want to just get there and forget something. And she wrote that letter, and she wrote it, and then she rewrote it. And then the final way that she wrote it, it was such in a way that was so convincing. Like, to me, I was like, if I'm on the board, I'm going to, number one, listen to you. Because if you're ever writing something to somebody or talking to someone, you got to get them to listen first. And there's a specific way to get people to listen first. And then you have to gain their attention on what you're trying to get them to focus on. And in her letter, she did both of those. And then she brought it full circle to close it out on the reason why. And they accepted it, and she said that when she listened to them, they asked a few questions. Her doctor came on and closed it all the way out, but they said that they're going to make their decision within 24 hours. Now, think about this, within 48 hours. But let me tell you something, she only had one more pill. As of today, if you're watching this video on 2/8/2024, she only had one last pill for today. So if anything past today, we just got to run to the pharmacy and pay $4,000 because you can't have her go backwards. She can't go backwards. And so within a few hours, guess what they did is they called and they said, we're going to accept, we're going to let the insurance pay for that medication. We're going to let it take that medication. Now, the reason why, they had their reasons why they wouldn't accept it, because, they could just say, we don't believe that it works or whatever, even though the doctor and all of the results show that it works. Insurance companies make their own rules, and that's a big thing that you need to listen to. Finance companies or lenders and debt collectors, they make their own rules. But you can get them to see things your way, and that's what my wife ended up doing. And within a few hours, they called and they said 100%. We just have to pay our first deductible that's based on our insurance that we signed up for, which is what everybody has to do, and then it'll be taken care of for the rest of the year. So the reason why I wanted to give you that story is because this is the same technique that is used to get creditors and debt collectors to forgive your debt. If you think about it, it does not matter what you're trying to get someone to do, because you can insert debt forgiveness into there. They're going to want to know, number one, the reason why, but it has to be stated in a way that gets them to believe. Even having additional information when they ask to have it provided, like her doctor. For debt forgiveness, they could say, well, could you just provide us this additional information? Because all they're doing is, if you can think about it this way, you're drawing a picture for them, and then they're going to verify that picture. that picture. And if the verification of that picture is correct and right, you could get, some people call it a miracle. I call it a miracle / putting in the hard work makes you lucky, and all of that preparation makes people get lucky. But just imagine it this way. What if you did that for all of your debts and maybe all of them got forgiven? How would you feel? Okay, let's say that they did it, you did it, and 75% of your debt got forgiven and you had to pay 25%. How would you feel? Let's just say it was 50% and you had to pay the other 50%. How would you feel? Let's say it was 25%. How would you feel? Let's say it was only 10% was forgiven. How would you feel? I did that rundown because I think that you need to understand that whatever gift you're given, you need to appreciate it. We didn't say, okay, now we're not happy because, yeah, it's $4,000. We got to pay our first deductible, which I think for her is more than $4,000. So we're going to be paying out that more than that amount, and we're just not going to have to pay the full $48,000 over the year. And they another thing that they did is they approved it all the way until 2039. To 2039, they approved her to be on that medication till 2039. That's a lot of years from now, but years go by quick. So hardship letters. I've seen some AI and all of these different things that are coming out, and they're probably in a way copying off of what I had put into action, which there's nothing wrong with that. But what you have to know, what this is going to come down to, this is what it's going to come down to. And if you watch my videos and you saw that Star Trek Enterprise in the back that I have at my other office, and I remember that in Star Trek 3, I think it was Star Trek 3, for In Search of Spock. I think it was, or I'm not sure which one it was, or 5, Star Trek 5. Yeah, it was Star Trek 5 when they were with the one with Spock's brother, where they went to look for God. And or no, it was Star Trek 2. Man, I'm embarrassing myself. It was Star Trek 1, the motion picture, when the Voyager, which ended up being one of our satellites, Voyager, was sent to outer space, and it came back, and it wanted to find the creator who created it. Follow me on this. He wanted to speak to or communicate with the creator. And Spock went and did his mind meld, and he was like, when he got back on the Enterprise, and he was telling Captain Kirk, what's going on? And he said, I should have known. I should have known. And he said, what should you have known? And he asked for Captain Kirk's hand, and he said, put your hand here. And I want you to imagine that you're holding my hand, like we're holding hands right now. That's the difference between you getting what you want out of life, period. But for this video, we're talking about getting your hardship accepted. Is that in a way, that person is like handshake to handshake, like we touch each other. AI cannot hold your hand. AI cannot express your feelings. AI cannot communicate with another human because we actually process information a lot faster than a computer. We just don't know it. It happens so fast we don't even know it. You ask a computer how fast it processes information, it'll tell you I process it at 1 millisecond. You can't tell us how fast we process it because it's so fast. It's so fast. So if you are interested in at least trying to see what type of debt you could get forgiven, your debt, some or all of your debt, what does it matter? If you can put the process in place, no matter what, you're going to be in a better place, because you have to express your story. You have to know how to get people to listen to your story, and you have to know how to give them that information to even consider your story. And that's what I've done in that program, my hardship program. Link is below this video if you're interested in it. If you need help with your credit, you're always welcome to visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, what makes us different, so you can see my 8-point validation process, my 2-phase settlement process. If you need your credit reports and scores, go to the website your3scores.com to grab your TransUnion, Equifax, Experian credit reports and all 3 scores. If you have debt collectors coming after you, grab my 3-pack of letters: statute of limitations letter, cease and desist collection activities letter, and debt validation letter. Now, let me be a little bit more specific about the benefits of those 3 letters. If a debt collector is coming after you for a debt, you should immediately look at the last payment that you ever made with that creditor, because that's when the clock starts to tick for the statute of limitations. We used to think that it was at the charge-off date, but we did more research, and there was an update on the CFPB website that stated last payment, and it was still kind of vague there, but talking to my attorney friends, talking to different resources, it's going to be from that last payment. And that is logical. Me as a business owner, I don't give people credit, businesses credit per se, but I do extend credit to them. And there has been some that didn't pay me, and the statute of limitations, because I don't charge off an account. I might write it off, but I don't technically charge off an account. And so it would be from that statute of limitations period, would be from the last payment, or the date that that invoice was created is when the clock starts to tick. So that's very important. Look at the last payment that you've made on that account, and you can tell them if it is past legal statute of limitations that you have no legal obligation to pay. You can go to my website, thecreditrepairshop.com, to see the statute of limitations. Go to the blog, type in statute, you'll see the list of all the states. And there are some updates. We made an update a few months ago, but if there's any new updates, we'll make that. And then the debt validation and cease and desist collect activities letter, those are going to be utilized. First, you use the cease and desist collect activities letter, because that's going to ask them questions that they don't expect you to ask when they come after you for a debt, when they send you that first letter. And you do need to respond to that first letter, because if you don't respond to that first letter, you're going to give them permission to put that information on your credit reports. I know there's a lot of videos that say don't respond to that first letter. I'm telling you, you want to respond to it. You want to get this stuff dealt with. You don't want to leave it on a table or leave it and think that it's hidden and then it comes back to hurt you later. You want to deal with all of this stuff so you can move forward. You never know. I had a friend of mine, he started a business, and all of a sudden something came back and haunted him that was from the past on a debt. Same thing happened to me years ago. It's like, I thought I was done with this, and it came back, and I had to end up doing a settlement with that company to just have this stuff go away. So you just don't leave it on the table. Just go ahead and face it, confront it, get your fears out of the way, and just look at all the different options that you can take care of it. Link is below this video for all of the products and services that we offer. Thank you for your time. Please post your questions and comments, like this video, share, subscribe to the channel. This is Stephen A. Williams, President and Founder of thecreditrepairshop.com.